All right, everyone. Welcome to Sex with Robin on Split Radio. Happy Monday. Uh, my name is Robin Beach. I am a former stripper, former pro dom, former nurse with experience in cardiology, psychology, and sexual health. Now I am a sex educator and coach and consultant and host of the show Sex with Robin on Split Radio. And I do want to mention I am located in Vancouver, Canada, on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast, Salish, and Musqueam Indigenous tribes. I know everyone's excited because I have a super awesome guest today. I'm bringing her right on because we are talking about condoms. So, everyone, welcome. Milla from OneCondoms. Hello, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited on a Monday to talk all about condoms and lubricant. I can't imagine a better way to spend a Monday.
Right? It's, and I was actually hesitant about having a Monday kind of slot, but people seem to really love it, because people kind of don't like Mondays. So they're like, I will sneak off like from work and listen just to talk about sexy stuff on Mondays. Why not?
I love it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming. A lot of people that watch the show are familiar that OneCondoms is a sponsor of the show. And and of course I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan of OneCondoms, long before. I wouldn't, take on a sponsor I didn't really agree with. The thing that I particularly really love is the normalization of like having a proper size for the condom. And I know that seems to be a really big thing for OneCondoms. What is it that kind of drove you to work with OneCondoms?
Well, it goes back to honestly moving to Texas at the sweet, gentle age of 11. I moved from Finland in Europe
Oh,
where
wow.
sex is more discussed in a more open, honest, educational way. And then not at the age of 11, but when I did have my first sex ed class in Texas, which was
Oh,
abstinence
dear.
only and lasted for exactly 1 hour, where
Yeah.
they basically told us so many lies about condoms. Condoms don't work,
Mhm.
all this stuff, where I truly feel like that hour did more damage than it did actually help anybody.
Right, absolutely.
Started to very early in high school think like, how can I get involved somehow? There's no way that this is the way that we teach sex in America, is it? And then soon I discovered in many places it is. And then ended up
Yep.
doing a lot of sex ed in college, and then moved to doing public relations for organizations that do sexual health education or women's rights or LGBTQ rights. And then OneCondoms ended up being one of our clients. And we worked on a street art campaign all around HIV education and street art and getting street artists involved. And then a few months later, I was full time, moved to Boston and was living and working in Boston and working for OneCondoms. And now it's been somehow 7 years since that day. And absolutely love it. The fact that I get to do sexual health education and just talk about condoms and lube all day is honestly just a dream come true.
I completely relate. I'm just like, how can I make this my job, right?
Right.
But it's really important
Yeah.
to talk about these things on it. Obviously, you had an abstinence only education. I had an abstinence only education as well, and it really does a lot of damage. I'm actually really excited to say I've just been for those listening because I try to keep everyone up to date. I have actually being asked to teach at a high school, uh, to speak at a high school specifically for the like queer and trans
Very cool.
youth that aren't that were like quite legit, like just complaining that the sex education was, if anything, harmful that they're getting. And they're very near where I grew up. So it
Mhm.
actually kind of feels really nice for me to be like, I can go to a place
Yeah.
where, it was similar to how I grew up and try to fix it. Just be like,
Right. Yeah.
just that. And that's a lot of what I do. I'm like, what did I wish someone told me?
Exactly. And that's what we do at OneCondoms to a lot is like, how do we like kind of, we're still a company, but how can we utilize what we know about sexual
Yeah.
health or connect people to the amazing sex educators that we work with? And just so people can have spaces to talk about sexual health. Because, like you mentioned, a lot of
Totally.
times specific people are completely not included in the conversation when it comes to sex ed or sex ed
Mhm.
is an hour when I truly believes like it should be an hour every day almost, like
Yes,
that's
yes,
a big part of our lives. And people just want information. And there's so much misinformation online that, having those trusted people who to go talk to, it's just so important,
totally.
no matter what age
Yes.
you are, right? Yeah.
I need to get rid of the I want to help get rid of that whole like the sex talk. It's like,
Right.
no, not one talk, people. It should be a conversation that is age appropriate, that begins from the beginning. We talk a lot about
Right.
I have kids, and like I've been talking to them about consent since the very beginning. As soon as they say stop when they're being tickled, I stop.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Like and that is a part of sexual education, and that begins like right away. So it's several talks, not one talk. But
One time.
anyways, I've got a couple comments here. Oh, and this is from Mandy. Sex ed in the USA is just gross. Uh, she's located in Georgia, so
Oh, wow. Yeah.
so you're like, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
I got another comment here. Hey, Milla, excited to see you on Robin's show. I'm
Ah,
excited to see you on my show too.
yeah.
So yes, anyone listening, if you have any questions for Milla, please put them in the chat or anything like that. And I actually do have questions. So the thing is, okay, for this is more of a gushing instead of like a question, but I love a lot of the little graphics that you have. I don't know. I don't know if you're the designer. I'm sure that this must come from several designers. Like this one says, if you're reading this, use one.
Yeah.
Just kills me. I love it so much. There's a lot of really fun ones.
Yeah, and it's
So
cool because, one kind of as a brand, like the wrappers really, we wanted to, when we launched in 2003, do everything differently, including that, condoms are round, so maybe the wrappers themselves should be round.
makes so
And
much
how do
sense.
we constantly just invite people to be part of our brand and help us be a better brand? So we do that. The designs, a lot of them come through the people that actually use the condom. So we have the Design One contest where we run 2 contests a year.
Oh, that's
We've done
brilliant.
specific contests for like Canada, Los Angeles, Toronto, where people submit the designs. Because I think I'm a pretty cool person, and our staff is cool, but it's better if like the condoms are almost like a reflection of the people that use them. So
Hmm.
whether you think a beaver is cool or a bird is cool or some kind of beautiful artwork or a drawing is cool, that's why we do the contest. Yes,
This is
that's
it
Bryce
looks like
Rabbit is hilarious. We have very
someone
good
in
eye on.
like a kayak, like but on the grass and also wearing a bunny head. Like it is so random. I love it.
Yeah, and that one is Bryce Rabbit. He wears a rabbit face and does all kinds of really funny stuff on his social.
That's great.
Um, and then winners get, they get a year's supply of condoms with their art and design, which we say it's 365 condoms, maybe a little bit more than a year's supply for some people, but
I
and they
love that. That's great.
well, at least one a day. That we can do that, and then they get cash and also get to donate 5,000 condoms to their favorite health organization. So that's a way that we
Oh,
also help
nice.
donate condoms to the world. So
Hmm.
design
Hmm.
contest is definitely fun, and let me tell you, it is very fun to go through what people submit. It's always kind of seasonal, like whatever is cool right now or happening in the news or
Right.
happening, like a new movie comes out. Obviously not everything that we can accept, like if it's Mickey Mouse's face,
Right.
I don't think Disney's gonna let us put Mickey Mouse on our content.
You'd get a few
um,
calls.
yeah, I might get a few very threatening legal letters if we did that, but
Hmm.
but it is very, very fun and definitely a way. And then people also get to vote on the final winners. So we don't even choose the winners; the public decides who the winners are.
Nice.
So
That is really, really cool.
yeah,
Okay, so I was even kind of playing around with who hasn't. Actually, I think on one show, it was Mandy's show, everyone was like, at some point in your life, you should just have a bunch of condoms to play with and fiddle and figure out what to do. I know I did that as a teen once because I was like, what, how does this work? How do you unroll it? How do you,
it
all of
is, and
these
it really
things?
is fun to play with them, right? Like, and
Yeah.
especially and to know how they work.
Yeah.
What do they look like? How do they roll down? What does a textured condom actually look like? What does like a this brand versus this brand look and feel like?
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And I have to say, in certain sexual situations, and like I'm in my mid 30s, so it's not as much of an issue now, but like when I was in my 20s, okay, having sex with somebody that had like a bio dick, they would have no idea how to put on their own condom and just be like, well, you're supposed to do it. And I'm like, I don't know whether you think that that's just sexy, because like that's a total thing. I'm
Yeah,
happy to put a condom on a partner. I think
right,
that's really fun and sexy, but you should also know how to do it.
right.
Um, I actually have a story for you. I've told this story a few times, but I think you'll appreciate this one. And there's no shame in terms of size. Like it's important to know that like no shaming sizes. But I did have a moment that um, I would like to rant that if you have a bio dick, you should carry your own condoms because you should know what fits you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this story happened. It was like a kind of it was a one night stand type situation. I don't know. People don't call it that anymore. What do you call that today? A Tinder date?
Yeah.
It's basically a Tinder date. Whereas like, okay, I'm just looking to hook up. And
Mm-hmm.
so he came over and we're kind of fooling around. And then it was like, okay, time to get a condom. And he's like, well, do you have condoms? And I'm like, yes, I do. They're in the drawer. And so I'm, getting a drink of water, and I hear him rummaging, and my head was turned so I didn't see him, which is good because he didn't see my face. All he said was, "Do you only have large condoms?" Because that was all I had in my drawer were large condoms, and
Right,
it made it right. And again, so like no size shaming here, but it was just like that can't have felt good to
right,
be like
exactly.
for this person. So I felt really bad for him, but also not, because I was like, it's kind of on you because I don't know what what size you need.
Right, and there are so many different sizes. So really knowing like what size you need, you've tested it, you've practiced it. Even with our My One brand that has the 60 sizes, like we send the sample kit when somebody measures, and then we often say like we highly 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 recommend try the samples on while you're masturbating at home and check that you measured right. Does it feel good? Is it squeezing? Is it too long? Is it too short? Like test them out
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
by yourself before like getting in a sexual situation where then you realize like, oh man, I met, because sometimes people do use our measuring stick upside down or the
Right.
wrong way, and then they have a completely different size than they need.
Yeah.
So but
Yes.
often
So
with this,
Mila, please show us how to measure. I've got
right,
I've got a dick here. And I
right. So
actually, it does say, I noticed this on the website, the my or onecondoms.com. There's a lot of really cool stuff here. It says like different signs that a condom doesn't fit properly. And I noticed it has options. There's the downloading the free fit kit at
right.
myonecondoms.com. Is that what you have?
Yes. So people,
Okay.
so when they print it off myoncondoms.com, it's like a sheet of paper, and then you use a credit card to check that like your printer settings didn't
Right, right.
print it off. And then you have to
Your
fill
fit
it
kit's
out.
like this big.
Or we have these like really nice laminated, traveling kits
Yeah, yeah.
I have like in my purse all the time. So if anyone's like, oh, condoms don't fit me, I'm like, try this at home,
Yes. Oh, we got a comment here. Someone says, right, like I'm not keeping all brands and sizing on hand. Once I know your preference, I can help supply, but only you know your size and preference when we first
Right.
go to bed.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there's so many condom brands and so many styles and so much stuff out there that really like testing to see what you like. Like I can't imagine a better fun science
Yeah.
project to do.
Yeah. I did like it does say on the site that you can use, because I have like measuring tape, like a
Right.
soft. So I was like, I could just use that too,
You can
if
just
you're
use
if
a
you're okay
measuring tape,
using numbers.
or like some people only have a ruler, which like you can use a ruler, right, to measure length. That's easy. But then they're like, I can't get because one of the important measurements is also the girth, so around.
Yeah.
Um, they're like, well, how do I can't get my ruler to bend like that. So what I often tell them is like take like a shoelace or a string or a piece of paper, and then use the paper to wrap around, and then
Yeah.
use the ruler to measure the piece of paper.
Yeah. I've
Um,
totally done that, even just like with yarn or string, and you just mark it and
exactly.
then you can measure it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's do this. So how do you measure length? And I assume it should be when you're erect.
Correct. Yes. So fully erect. And then you put so if you have a measuring tape or you have the fit kit. So the fit kit kind of looks like a penis, right? So the thicker part is,
Totally does.
it does. So, you put the balls of the fit kit underneath the balls of the erection, and then you just kind of peep and see like what is the letter that shows above the penis. So for this one, it's an O. Oh.
Okay, so you're going from so I guess it would be like that typically. So
Yes,
going from the bottom, like the base,
correct.
because you know I'm all about that base.
That's
Okay,
right.
that
And
sounds
this
good.
one, we get this question a lot. Like you see, this one is curvy. So they're like, well, do I measure this side or do I measure this side?
Right.
Measure whatever way it curves, measure the longer side of the curve. So this is like,
Oh,
it's like back to math class, like longest side of the curve. So just to
right.
make sure, because the important thing is that the condom is going to
This
be
one.
long enough to cover all the way from the base to the tip, right? Because you don't want to leave anything unprotected by a condom, because then you're
Hmm.
at higher risk for STIs that are transmitted by skin to skin contact. So
Right.
it has to be long enough.
And
And then
then where at the tip should you stop measuring? Because
like right at
it
the
does
tip.
curve, right? So I go all along,
Yep.
like
Right
to
there.
the urethra, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And then girth is just around. And for us, like there's a line at the end of the fit kit that you see here, and then a bunch of numbers. Oh, let me try to get it in the camera.
Yeah.
There. So you kind of have to match the bottom part to one of the lines on the side. Like this one is an O 90 88. So it goes like that.
Okay. So, and here's another question because I know I've seen obviously dicks come in all shapes and sizes. If it's like wider at one part and smaller at one part, it doesn't matter where along the shaft you are measuring girth. Should it be like the widest?
Yeah, like what we tend to recommend is like take a few measurements and then calculate the average.
Okay.
And the good thing is like you get, so when you plug in, so like this person found out that they're an idiot or whatever I said, and then you plug that into the website and then we'll
Hmm.
send you a sample kit. Or you just put in the length and circumference measurement and then we tell you what your code is. And then you can order this cute little sample kit. So it comes with the size that you measured. Nope, this
Yeah.
size. And then another size, kind of like we've done a lot of data analysis. Like if people don't end up picking this size, this is the size that they'll pick instead. So you get to test out some condoms and then you say,
Nice.
you know what, I measured wrong, or I want it to be a little bit tighter, or I need it to be a little bit looser. And then we'll send you another sample kit based on that experience, just so people can like make sure that they have the right fit before they commit to a 12 or 24 pack.
Yeah, I wanna reveal what the size because I did measure this one. It's kind of my shorter, girthier one
Mm-hmm.
out of my dicks. I've got a lot of dicks
Same.
because that's
And it is
right.
very hard to curate dildos in different sizes. I don't know if you had that trouble, but I
Yes, so
spent
many of them
hours
are
and
very
hours
similar.
online. Yeah, hours and hours online trying to find like just different hues and shades of penis colors and different
Yes.
sizes because they're all pretty much the same size, or a lot of them are. So,
A lot of them have, yeah, definitely like a few standard sizes. I find, I do find it easier to find really large ones instead of
yeah,
smaller ones.
exactly.
But yeah, as a queer woman, I've definitely like I feel like any new partner I get, they'll have a request like, "Oh, can I have one that's like maybe a little squishier? Do you have one that's like a little smaller?" And so I'm like,
Yeah,
every time I date somebody, I get a new dick.
yeah.
But anyways, so with this one, I put in the measurements in the site, and it says the my one condom size we recommend is M11. And then I love this. It says, do you find standard condoms are too long for you? My one's M11 condom will be a great fit in terms of length with no roll up at the base, and great fit in terms of width without slipping or falling off. You'll also likely feel more during sex. So I just love that it basically like tells you what issues you might be having based on your size and maybe what needs work. Because I honestly, and I've had this question from other people with dicks that have said like, is it normal for this to be kind of tight or is this normal? And so the site I think is a really great for kind of breaking down. They even have a whole page on like signs you're wearing the wrong size condom, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, thank you. We try to do a lot of education because it goes into like normalizing that yes, penises come in different sizes and there's nothing wrong with your penis. It's that's just
Hmm.
like there's only been one or two sizes of condoms. Just like if there was one or two sizes of shoes or bras or anything like
Right.
we would all freak out and be like, how am I supposed to like wear a size 7 shoe? Like for some people it would slip off, and for some people they would be like squeezing and feeling so tight that like immediately after walking a few steps they're like, I need to take these shoes off now, like they do not fit whatsoever. So
Yeah.
trying to like just do a lot of that education, because standard condoms are 7.5 inches long, right? So that's too long for a lot of people. And yes,
Yeah.
millions of people use a condom or have used in the history of all time standard condoms successfully, and that's wonderful and amazing. But like this, for example, is a popular size, which is smaller. So they need something not only shorter, but also tighter. So
Mm-hmm.
this person will often tell us like, this is the first time in my life in 30 years, 40 years. I mean, I've talked to people who are 88, over 90, where I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have to hold on to a condom during sex. I mean, imagine that's not a fun experience, right? You're so worried that the condom is going to slip off, or you've had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hold on to the condom. That means that your mind is focused on the condom, your hands are focused on the condom. They're not focused on the fun parts of sex, right? So
Yeah.
just being able to help that condom slippage challenge is exciting for us. And then what's really common is because standard condoms are so much longer than the average penis and often not wide enough, like what happens is that this extra latex bunches at the base, and the tighter it gets, the more latex there is, the tighter it starts to feel. It's almost like
Oh,
a
okay.
rubber band getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Or like this hangs off at the tip and it's not comfortable, right? Because then that latex is like bouncing around and it's not
That would,
fun.
I don't have a dick, so I don't know how that would feel, but it's like I'm cringing just thinking of it. And I don't even have a dick. That sounds
Right.
awful.
Or like when people say condoms are too small, what they often mean is that it's too tight in circumference. So then they're
Mm.
trying to actually be a responsible condom user, and they go grab the gold wrapper or they go grab an extra large condom, but those are longer but not much wider. So then for this
Oh,
person,
what?
that extra latex is actually going to get way worse, where an extra large condom can actually feel tighter than a standard condom. So that's why we
Wow.
do the 10 lengths and the 9 girths, so that people can like not only customize the length and the girth. And I used to do in sex ed classes, kind of how we were taught to do the condom on the arm trick. And now what we're trying to fix,
Yeah.
because there's a big difference between my arm, which has a solid bone in it that can hold the structure of the condom,
Mm-hmm.
versus the penis. Like the penis is working real hard to pump blood into it to keep an erection. So if you put a condom that's way too tight in circumference, it really can cause instant erection loss. And that like our customers will talk about, like that was such a big anxiety for me all the time. Like,
Mm.
can I keep my erection when I put the condom on? And if not, then like I feel so anxious, and can I explain to my partner? Like,
Yes. Yes.
even more anxiety. Or if they can't keep an erection, if you've ever had like a rubber band on your wrist for too long? Actually, I have marks
Okay,
right
I'm
now
gonna
on my
do
wrist,
this already.
where it leaves like, yeah, where it
Here we
leaves like
go.
that red, right? Like your hand's probably not that comfortable, right?
No, it's not. But
And
and this is gonna start losing circulation pretty quick,
exactly.
right? Like,
And now imagine that on a penis, that's like the only thing that's keeping it erect is blood pumping into it. So then instant erection loss, or our customers call it the red ring of death, where like on their penis, because the condom is so tight, it leaves like purple, painful rings on their penis, sometimes for hours, sometimes for more than a day. So my one is really just, if standard condoms, extra large condoms don't work for you, at least there's now additional sizes. And like, yes, we understand penises come in different sizes, just like a foot does. So just makes
yeah,
sense to bring something to market where it's like celebrating body positivity, to be honest. And we've been able to have conversations about condoms in a whole new different way,
yeah.
just to get people to
Yeah, that seems like
understand
the one of the biggest issues is that, the stigma of talking about sex, or
yeah,
the, a lot of people, and I experienced this as a sex and relationship coach, a lot of insecurities about penis size, um, because so many things, lack of education. I'm like, I got a condom on my fingers. Is like, lack of education, and people being, a lot of the stigma and shame around penis size.
right.
It causes so much damage,
It causes
because
so
I
much
see a lot of
damage.
clients that have tons of issues and insecurities about their penis shape or size, and just making it easier for people to talk about, I think is
Yeah.
one of the things that's really important. And I
Yeah.
love the shoe analogy, because you're right. If there was only 2 shoe sizes, people would lose their fucking minds
They would,
and
yeah, lose their fucking mind. Yeah.
yeah,
Or like if there was like 2 bra sizes, right? Like, and then you
yeah,
tell somebody who's a C cup, like, here's an A cup, just like figure it out. Like, just do it. Just, I don't
yeah,
know, figure it out, or vice versa. So yeah, so my one is just helping kind of
yeah.
getting people to try condoms again. And that's what I talk to a lot of people. They're like, I gave up condoms 20 years ago. And I'm like, hold on, hold on. Just give me your measurements and let me just send you a sample kit. And they're like, holy shit, this is so much different than what I remember condoms
Yeah.
were.
That's that's gotta be really validating for you, like, you're literally improving people's sex lives.
Yeah.
Ha
Yeah. And that's, yeah, they really do say, and I'm obviously in marketing, but I'm also an educator
yeah,
first and foremost. Like reading those stories of people who are like, this completely changed my sex life. Like I was so tired of being called a liar who's just using condom
yeah,
fit as a way to get out of condom use. But no, I've been telling like people since whenever that no, I would wear a condom if it actually fit right. And then
yeah,
you give them that and they're like, oh, now I'm using condoms like consistently again. So
yeah.
yeah, that's for us as a company. We just try to find all those challenges that people have and then use our manufacturing power, technological. We have condom engineers on our team who just
So
help
cool.
try and solve these problems, right? So, because
How
we
does
can
one become a condom engineer?
very rigorous training. It's
Lots
just
of practice?
lots of math. You have to have a math mind,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
there's not. One day I hope that there would be like a course in college, condom engineering, but
That would
it's
be
kind of
so
like a
cool.
path like sex education is now. You take some classes, some schools have better paths, but then eventually you use your engineering degree to work at a condom company.
Right? Absolutely, why not? That would be a really
Yeah.
cool job. That is awesome. I'm just gonna pull up my, poll here. I did a poll, to see how many apples did you think I could fit in an average, like, standard condom? Do you have a guess? Gala apples.
Gala apples, maybe 4 or 5.
Alright, let's see. I've got this is just one of the standard OneCondoms, and I've got the Gala apples. There we go, I got one. And I have a bowl of fruit here with me that I will be washing after this. Always wash your
Tastes
fruits and
like
vegetables, there's
yeah, it
2.
tastes like lubricant afterward.
Let's see, 3. Our most votes we got was 6, was the most what
Oh,
people thought, and the second place after that was 3.
it really
So,
shows that condoms are incredibly durable.
they're
The
super durable. And so, like, oh, there's 4. This actually looks like a cool way to store your fruit.
I was gonna say that's a nice conversation starter. Put that like as a centerpiece in your living room and see what happens.
Oh, I could just barely fit this one. So how many is that? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can fit
5,
5 Gala apples.
nice.
Nobody voted 5. Everyone thought it was, most people thought it was 6. What was your answer again?
I
Did
said
you
four
say
to
6?
five. I think I said 4 to 5. So
4 to 5? And there's still a little bit of stretchy room in there. So
mhm.
I
Well,
got
they
one,
are
2, 3, 4,
incredibly
5.
durable, but definitely a big difference between the anatomy of a penis and an apple.
Mhm. There you go. Um, oh, and we got, yes, actually, I believe this is Mandy who just mentioned this. We got to talk about this because this is new. I don't know. I'm sure you know more about this than me. Super excited for folks who have anal sex. The FDA approval is amazing. That yeah, OneCondoms was recently FDA approved specifically for anal sex.
Yes, and there's unfortunately been quite a lot of media misreporting that I've been trying to fix for the last few days. So
Uh-oh. Let's
there's been
let's fix it. Let's fix some of it right
let's
here.
fix it right now. So we did not design a condom specifically for anal sex, which I've seen
Right.
in a lot of press. So what happened is that condoms have only been approved officially by the FDA for vaginal sex.
Hmm.
And then instantly people want to blame the FDA, but it's really not their fault, right? The FDA doesn't go do clinical trials. They clear and approve products based on scientific data. So nobody had ever presented a clinical trial to the FDA saying, "Hey, we did a clinical trial and condoms are safe and effective for anal." So that's what we did. So we partnered with Emory University in Atlanta, who did the clinical trial, which found that our condoms, OneCondoms, and the My One fitted condoms, uh, have a condom failure rate less than 1%. So it was 0.7. So incredibly effective for anal, right? So then we were able to take that data, that clinical trial, submit what's called a de novo request to the FDA last fall. And then as of last week, they approved it. So which means that we can now say on our packaging and in our marketing that our condoms work for vaginal sex, and they're also now approved for anal sex. And let me tell you, having anal sex and FDA and condoms all over the news. I mean, it was in local media, all over the US media, international media. That's like a dream come true for me and for our company, because we're like, it allowed us to talk about anal sex, which can be a little bit of a hush hush topic, in an all new
Totally.
way, like anal sex safer practices in a whole new different way. The clinical trial also found like how important it is to use lubricant for all types of sex.
Mm,
Actually, a lower failure rate for anal sex than vaginal sex with our condoms. But then they looked at like, oh, lubricant use was also like way over. It was like 90 something percent versus 40% for vaginal. So, but then when they looked at the data controlling for lubricant use, there's no difference. So it really does show that like condoms and lubricant are best friends. They're a match made in heaven. Always use lubricant with condoms. It really does not only increase pleasure, but really helps prevent the condom from breaking in use. And we're just
mhm.
excited what it means for public health outreach. Now we don't have, now we can openly talk about anal sex and the effectiveness, and people can have confidence. People have been using condoms for anal sex for years and years and decades, right? But now there's like that added confidence of like they've
Mhm.
actually tested safe. The other thing that has caused a little bit of confusion is in FDA's press release, they referred to us as the one male condom. So now people are like searching online, and I've seen a lot of like, who is
Oh,
this? Like, what is this? So one male condom equals OneCondoms. It's just unfortunate that it said one male condom, because we like to use the term, and I think a lot of educators now do, external condom and internal condom,
yes, yes. Instead
because
of female condom, thank
and
you.
male condom, because obviously people who don't identify as males also use condoms. So we've been trying to get that removed and have it corrected, because
Good.
we have customers now who are emailing us saying, hey, when does the new one male condom
Right.
specifically for anal come to market? So, but I look at it still as an opportunity for conversation. So we have all this
Yeah.
conversation happening online through our customer support, where we can, help not only clarify, but just have these new conversations about condoms, anal, lubricant use,
Yeah.
So it's been really exciting,
That
all
is really
kind of
exciting.
press and just conversation that it's
Yeah.
helped to generate.
Yeah, just having that on there as something like that's really, official. Hey, look, FDA has approved this for anal sex. So we can actually,
Cool.
it's almost like it's offering permission for people to openly talk about anal sex.
Right.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And previously we had to kind of be like, yes, people use our condoms for anal, but we can't like officially say it, but like we're saying it. But so now we can
Yeah.
just
Now I can just
openly
say it.
talk about it. And we hope that
Yes.
other companies follow suit. And we're just gonna be talking about anal sex safety practices, 24/7 all day.
Oh, that is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, going back to like the fit, I always say, "Oh, it'll change your sex life. It makes it so much better." But then it's like, I also want to add that it's obviously going to make the condom way more efficient. Like a condom, so if it's loose, if it's slipping, if whatever's going on, obviously that sucks and it's not great for the sex life, but also it doesn't make the condom as effective, right?
Right.
Condom slips off, it's, increased risk.
Yeah.
Um, and I have known people that got a condom lost inside of them and called me and were scared, and I was like, it's okay, I'll help you,
It's like everyone in that situation is like, if you don't know how to also talk about sex, it's like, how do you talk about it in a way that doesn't also shame your partner,
Yeah,
but you're also scared because a condom's literally lost inside of you, so it's like having those conversations and how to have those
yeah,
conversations in a positive way,
yeah.
um, when it's not that person's fault, it's the condom's fault for being one size and assuming that it fits everyone.
Yes, and I'm really fascinated. I'm gonna like stay up at night thinking about this because You taught me this, that the larger condoms are actually just more longer. They're not really much wider than the standard condom.
Right. They're
I've
like long.
I've got a partner who's actually been like struggling with condoms, and I'm like, let me measure you, please, and I'm going to next time he's here. I'm
Yeah.
gonna measure him, um,
And so much
because
has, yeah, because it's been focused a lot on like average length, and the media is like,
yeah, and he's
like
been like, it's
girth
too
is also,
tight. He
yeah, the
he
girth
he, he
is
has
super.
that tightness at the base that he says is too much, and so he's like, I guess I got to use a large one, and but it still hurts. And I'm like, and that's so like big light bulbs went off where I'm like, okay, so the larger ones aren't actually that much wider. They're not really helping you.
They're longer, yeah, but not significantly wider. And if it's like, because the condom is so long to begin with, then it's that extra roll up. The
Yeah,
more
yeah,
that you need
which
to
is just
roll,
gonna
and
make
the
it
more,
worse.
yeah, the tighter it gets. So yeah, it's really about the length, but it's also about the girth or the circumference. We've also
I,
been as a brand thinking like, do people like the term girth or circumference better? Like circumference sounds like I'm back in math class in 8th grade,
which
but
could be
girth,
hot,
it could be hot, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah. Teacher fantasy for sure. And then, but girth also sounds like,
Mhm.
I love the term girth, but does it sound like really like girth? Sounds so like aggressive.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I feel like girth. I like the word. It's just a fun sounding word.
It is. It's like
But
more friendly because then
right,
there's
right, right.
the term width, but width has also been sometimes confusing because then
Hmm.
instead of measuring all the way around, people will measure like the top width. So
Right.
that's why we spend a lot of time thinking about and asking our customers about like these terms and how do we make this process easier for people to like
Mm.
figure out
Yeah,
this.
even something as what seemingly simple as terminology makes a big difference.
It really, really
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
That is really cool. I kind of want to ask people now. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be doing all the social medias all day. What terms do you like? And that's actually something we talk a lot about on this show. Is like, what words do you use for your parts, right?
Right.
So not just parts, but now it's like, okay, describing size of parts and like everything
Study
like
the
that, you know.
measurements thereof. Yeah.
Because yeah, length fairly standard, but yeah, girth versus circumference. I want to know what
Yeah.
people like better.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, it depends because girth almost has like a oomph sounding.
Oh, yeah. But is that like good? Because it's
Is
like
yeah, but
birth.
is that good or is that bad? And again, it would be different for every person, obviously. Like, because I once got a text message after a hookup that was like, I had a great time last night, blah blah blah. And it was like also it was so super hot that you used like medical terminology for certain parts. Because I did that, yeah. That's like the nurse in me. I can sometimes I'll just go to like the medical terminology, and yeah, they were like, "That was so hot." I was like, at
Yeah.
first I was like, I didn't realize I did that, and then I'm like, well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. And it is like even, so mine has been on the US market now for 4 years. And a lot of the questions that we get through customer service are from
Yes.
partners of condom users who are like, so I see that the condom is like too small or my partner doesn't want to wear them because they don't fit. I've noticed they're like either slipping off or like my partner's worried that they're going to slip off, but I don't know like how to bring this up in like a positive
Mm,
way where it doesn't feel like I'm like, hey, I'm saying that something's wrong. I mean, you are kind of like pointing out something's wrong, but it's more like, but here's
right?
like a better experience that we could both have.
Yeah.
So that's why we launched Measure a Penis Day 3 years ago, February 1st, to like kick off National Condom Month, and it's
Yes.
for Valentine's Day. Because it was born from that like customer questions of like, how do I talk to my partner about this? So the day is all around like helping people have conversations, like what language to use. And then I remember sitting in our conference room 3 years ago, being like, okay, well, we want to give people advice how to have this conversation. Like, we're trying to come up with some advice, and we're like, well, we have all these customers who've done this process and have had these conversations. Like, let's ask them. And then
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
where all the advice came from, like the customers ourselves, whether they had like a positive experience or like advice for how they wish the conversation would have gone. And a lot of it was, I dressed up like a nurse, or I dressed up like a doctor, I dressed up like, a science teacher or a construction
Right.
or something where it was like you can make it sexy and fun. Like the measuring part doesn't have to be, hey, something's wrong. It's more like, hey, let's make this sexy together.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I mean, especially because you should be erect when you measure. So like
Yeah,
that there's got to be some fun in there if you're the one
there's got to be
helping.
some motivation. Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that was going to be actually my question is what do you say when you get that question of like how do I bring this up? Do you have a go-to answer for like what is the best way or
Like we'll often give the like, well, you could like dress up and make it kind of like a fun part of foreplay.
yeah.
Um, we also will often recommend like have the conversation though, like sex conversations don't and shouldn't always. I mean, not should is a bad word, but like right before sex, because then like
Mm,
to have it like at a coffee table or at a dinner table or like somewhere like outside of when you're having sex, so that you can like not only talk about like pleasure and like things you might want to try or things, but you can say like, hey, like how do you feel about condoms, like are they comfortable for you, and start the conversation that way. Like ask first like what do they think about condoms, and they might immediately say like, oh, I hate them, they don't fit right. And then it's like, well, I've heard about this product that comes in 60 sizes, isn't that crazy? Like, would you want me
yeah.
to measure you? Or we'll send customers like the laminated fit kits. Like, you could just like give them, like, hey, like, if you want to measure, like, I'm happy to order you a sample kit or you test the sample kit. But I have seen a lot of like partners where the partner who's not wearing the condom is like, we measured, I ordered the sample kit. Here's how it went. Can you send me a sample of this? Where they like take control of the whole process.
Yeah,
But a lot of the
that makes
feedback
sense
from general
honestly because
customers
people
is
have such a hard time talking about that.
right. And a lot of the feedback, not only the role play and the foreplay, was like, look, just ask. Like, if there's a better product out there for me that can make sex feel better for me,
Yeah,
I'm all in. I want to know what that product is, right? So, just asking and having that conversation. I also
totally.
remember one person said, it was a gay couple, and they said he just brought out a bunch of different bananas in different sizes and was like, is your banana more like this? Or is it kind of like this? Or does it kind
I
of look
love it.
zucchini? Is it more like this? Just obviously most people can't point and be like, you know what, out of these 4 bananas, my penis is like that. But it's more like,
I wish I could do that. It makes me wish I had a dick because that does sound like fun. I would
yeah,
now I'm wondering if people do that when they see a banana or cucumber and just run and be like, "Hey, that one looks just like my dick."
just like my
Does that
penis.
happen to you? Let me know because I need to know. I
I
really
need
hope
to,
that exists. That thought process where someone's
yeah.
like, "Hey, that looks like my dick."
It is. It's just like a fun way to bring up the conversation, because
Yes.
sex is fun and it can be awkward and it's messy sometimes, but like at
Mhm.
the end of the day, like you hope that you're having sex with people who like respect you and want to have fun with you and understand that it's sex isn't as beautiful as movies or porn make it out to be, right? Like
Right, right, right. Yes.
really sex is a lot different, and like conversations and having, talking about it is always a good thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've just offered to measure in the past. I've just been like and asking, I think, is if you if you were here earlier on the Many Loves lunch hour, we were talking about consent, but just asking, can I measure you? I mostly offered because I do know that people are um, self-conscious about it, maybe don't want to see the numbers. Like I get that, like even certain as a nurse with weight, when weighing
Mhm.
people, a lot of people don't want to look or don't want to see the number, and I'm like, that's totally fine. I mean, it sucks that
Right.
that's an issue. It sucks that that exists. But yeah, so I'll be like, do you want me to measure you? And
Yeah.
yeah, I would say just have fun because you do need to be erect in order to get a really accurate measurement. So you could just have fun with that. Be like, hey, what do you want that would make you really hard right now? You know,
Right.
find
And
fun
you're right,
ways.
like, there is definitely that anxiety around size, and sometimes they don't
Hmm.
want you to measure, and that's totally cool too, and that's where, like, giving them a fit kit or just the link to
Yeah,
the website where they can
yeah.
go check it out. That's why also, so we have the measuring tape method, the fit kit method, but we also have a short questionnaire that was
Ooh,
developed because not everyone is comfortable touching themselves or measuring
yes.
themselves, or that they
Really
don't even
cool.
know.
I'm gonna look that up.
So you can just answer a few questions. Of course, it's not going to be exactly measured, but you're going to
Hmm.
get a much better fit than you would with another size condom, or with a standard size condom. If you're trying to solve for slippage or a wider condom, you just answer like, I typically use like standard, large, or snug fit condoms.
That is
Or they
so cool.
in
Yeah, I'm
length.
seeing that on the site right now. It says get a size recommendation. If you're not comfortable measuring yourself, no worries. We got you covered. That's also like a, oh, we got you covered. I hope that was intentional.
It
That
was.
is really cool because that is, again, like something I've come across. A lot of people have a hard time. So, oh, yeah, it's like basically a super quick questionnaire. What kind of condoms do you generally use? And then, so yeah, there's snug, standard, or XL. Describe the length of condoms you currently use. Oh, so it'd say like much too short. They don't cover me entirely by some margin. A little too short. They don't cover me entirely. Just right. Or a little too long. Some excess latex bunches up at the base. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. And then describe the width of condoms you currently use. And this, yeah, much too tight. They feel painful and or a mark is imprinted on me. A little too tight. I lose feeling or sensation during sex, which is one of the signs of a condom being too tight, which really, it's just not fun. But yeah, a little too loose, they might slip or fall off. That is so cool. So you can basically, I'm just gonna like put in some answers and see. I say standard. Maybe the length is just right, but the condoms are much too tight.
Mm-hmm.
Based on your input, like this took me 2 seconds. We recommend starting off with my one size D22. This condom will be significantly less tight than a standard or even XL condom and is a great fit in terms of length. That was
Right.
so easy, and I didn't even have to, like, touch my dick or measure my dick or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get your
I love
sample
that.
kit and test them out. And that's when and then like they get that size. And then, you also get the fit kit in the sample kit. So you might at that point want to measure, or you can just contact us and say, you know what, I tried D22 and I think I need something just a little bit tighter, something a little bit longer. And then we can adjust it without even having to measure at any point. So
This
we're just trying
is
to, and we're
so
always,
important. Like, you're doing really amazing things. I think that is so fucking cool, and,
thank you.
like, thank you for doing this, like, and what you do because this is absolutely amazing. I'm so thrilled.
Thank
This is
you.
really
Yeah. And
important
we're
stuff.
always, we're trying to come out with new ways to measure. We were, uh, I saw like there's like a ring company where you take one of those zip ties. Is that what they're called? And then you like measure your finger and you send that in, and then they send.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Zip
I mean, at
ties,
least you're not gonna
or
because
we call them zap straps a lot in Canada for some
that
reason. Zap straps, zip ties, or cable ties you're referring to?
cable ties, yeah. Obviously, we can't really do that because then people would be sending us like zip ties that have touched their genitals, and I don't know
Yeah.
who wants to open that mail necessarily, but like, we're trying to ring companies is something that we're looking at a lot. Like, how do they help people find their size? And how, like,
Yeah.
the whole thing is like we're constantly as a company want to keep improving. And a lot of our
Mhm.
changes that we do are, come from customer feedback. Like, you should be doing this better. Hey, can you help me with this? Hey, here's an idea how people could measure. So we're, always looking at how do we simplify this process so that more people can quicker and faster try my one and find a size that they love.
Absolutely. I after this show now, I'm gonna be like, I need more dicks to measure. I legit I
I
don't
will.
wanna necessarily say anyone who wants to get measured, come to my house, but, like, maybe text me because like I genuinely, out of interest and like enthusiasm, I legit I want to start measuring people now. I gotta start
And we
texting.
do get that question like, hey, like, can you come measure for me? And, we always
Yeah,
say something funny, like, we don't really do house calls, but now we know, hey,
you know who to call. I will
you
help
know who
measure
to call
you.
now.
I do a lot of random stuff. I actually also, if you take any like hormone therapy, I know a lot of like trans people that have heart because they don't want to give themselves the needles. They will
Mhm.
come to my house and I will administer it for them.
Very, very
So
cool. Very
like,
cool.
yeah,
Thank you
if
for doing that.
you oh, thanks. Why not? It takes 2 seconds. I will help. I want to help. I want to be a helpful person. So if you need help getting your shots and if you want your dick measured, just you know where to go. I really truly want to measure a dick now.
And
That
one
is
other
amazing.
thing about the sizes. So
Yes,
the
tell us.
shortest.
We only have like a few minutes left
Oh,
here.
great. So our shortest size is currently 4.8 inches long. And it's not because we don't understand that there's penises shorter than that. We really do.
Mhm.
Penises can be 1 inches, 2 inches,
Yep,
3 inches.
yep.
Um, so if you measure at the shortest length, because we get this question like, oh, I feel bad. I measured your shortest length. Like, does anyone buy this size? Our smallest size is currently the number 2 seller out of all 60 sizes. Um,
Wow.
and the reason is because, if this is the standard condom And our shortest size is actually really close to average penis size. Like a lot of studies say like average penis is around 5 inches. So it's not that like, your nobody buys your size and it's the shortest size that we have. It's just currently the shortest size with the regulations, because condoms as a medical device have a lot of regulations,
Oh, yeah.
length, girth, because it has to do with condoms are tested for safety and all this stuff. But if you measure our shortest length, just know that it is a very popular length. And
You
the
said the
smallest,
second most popular.
second most popular. So, and it really
Gotcha.
is, this might not be the perfect fit for somebody who needs something a little bit shorter, but it's certainly going to be significant improvement over standard condoms. So,
Yeah, that's really
hopefully
long for standard. Quite
it is.
honestly, that's
And
pretty
people
long for
always assume,
standard.
yeah, and they're like, well, why, like, I assumed that this was average, and therefore it made me feel bad all these years.
Yeah.
But we're like, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Well
Standard
said.
is kind of like was developed in the early days of condoms to hopefully cover the most majority of penises. Just like if you wanted to have a shoe that mostly covered everybody, they were trying their best, right? But now we know that, we really do need more condom sizes. So hopefully
Totally.
we can have even wider sizes and shorter and smaller sizes in the future. It's just, regulatory stuff takes a little bit of a while to change.
Right.
So
Yes, especially with government stuff and healthcare stuff. And it's like, yeah,
yeah,
you gotta consider those things. But I just, yeah, love this. More sizes, less stigma.
right. Exactly. Find a
I would
condom you love, find a lube you love, explore, have fun.
totally, absolutely. I just put up the comment here. We love Milla and OneCondoms. That's from
Aw,
Mandy. We do.
I
I
love
am
you too.
so thrilled to have you. Thank you so much for coming on today and talking about condoms and how important
Yes.
it is to have a proper fitting condom. And I'm so excited. I just want to measure
Thank you.
condoms.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, anytime, anytime. And so yeah, anything coming up that I should know? We already had the like measuring, what was it? The February 1st, the National Measuring Penis Day. Is that what you called it?
Measure penis day, yeah. We say
Measure Penis
a
Day.
penis, not your penis, because it could be your
Right.
penis, but it could be another consenting penis in your life. So,
As long as it's a consenting penis. Measure a penis as long as it is okay with that person.
um,
And then you've got the FDA approval, which is huge. I just love that
me
it's you're
too.
because it really does help normalize sex and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
any other major things coming up that's happening, or are you not allowed to tell
um,
me?
May is masturbation month, so
Hey,
we're gonna be talking about masturbation and lubricant and all kinds of stuff in May. So,
all
uh,
right, all right. That is something to look forward to, and we're
we
definitely going
also
to chat
do
more
have
about that.
some really cool new condoms coming out later this year. I can't talk about it publicly yet, but maybe I'll come on again to talk about that.
Yes, yes, we
Like,
should, because I know you have some really cool condoms.
yeah,
Like, it's not even just that the sizes are really awesome, but legit really, really cool condoms that we'll have to talk about another show.
I
And
love
we got another comment here. I fucking love May.
it. Me too.
You gotta
Finally.
love May. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. And thanks everyone for watching Sex with Robin on Split Radio. Next week, I'm going to bring out a violet wand. And we're going to talk
Yes.
about violet wands and how to use those and why you might want to use them. That's been a very popularly requested topic from a lot of viewers. So I'm going to bring out a violet wand next week on Sex with Robin, 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST, because all of us are in different time zones and it hurts my brain. And I'm sorry,
I
I
know.
know there was like between you and I, we're like, wait, what time zone are we? Where are you? So you're in
I know.
Boston?
Yeah, because Boston is, where I lived for 5 years, but now I actually live in Long Beach, California. So I'm always confused
Oh,
because my calendar and like my work brain is on EST, but then I'm
yes.
like, wait, what time is it
Oh
in?
no, that hurts my brain.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
too.
Well, again, Milla, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute thrill talking to you, and I can't wait to do
You
it
as
again.
well.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you
Take
so much.
thanks. Bye
Have a
everyone. Cheers.